And we're back for another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, NBA Draft Junkies, the Locked On NBA Draft Podcast, Lakerholics.com, and the Hoopheads Podcast Network, it is sincerely appreciated. We wanted to go ahead and give everybody a heads up what's going on for tomorrow, previewing the Lakers game. Also coming up as well, there's a good game between San Antonio and Memphis, so we want to go ahead and preview what's going on in the Western Conference. I do want to give a quick update, and also if you guys want to share some thoughts on it as well, on the Eastern Conference so far, as it's being played now. It's an early lead for Boston hosting Washington right now, and we will update that on for you. We'll update you with that as far as the score is concerned as we go on through the hour. The earlier game today in the Eastern Conference play-in was Indiana destroying Charlotte at home, 144-117. And I think Raphael on his Twitter, @Barlow500, said it best. It doesn't look like they're quitting on their coach at this point in time. So a great performance by Indiana, who was short Karis LeVert. I think also was short Miles Turner as well. Domantas Sabonis went crazy on the boards from what I was watching, and they were going crazy from the three-point line. So definitely a great win for Indiana. Maybe they can take that momentum into the playoffs with another victory against whoever loses tonight's Washington-Boston game. But here today to talk about maybe that game or what's going on in Washington, but of course what's going on in the Western Conference are three great guests indeed. I'm going to start off with the man himself because he showed up first. It is the mastermind behind Lakerholics.com. It is Laker Tom. And Laker Tom, I know we're going to get heavy into the Lakers game against Golden State tomorrow. I know we're also going to be able to touch on San Antonio and also as well Memphis. That they're playing in the other playing game tomorrow. But any thoughts so far on the Eastern Conference as it's laying shape right now?
That was a pretty impressive game by Indiana Pacers. They got Brogdon back, which obviously helped a lot. Took 43-point shots and demolished the Hornets. Looked like the Hornets coach would be the one that would be on the hot stove, but we'll have to see. They definitely, I think Raphael's right. That was a heck of a performance by the Pacers, and their backup center looked pretty good. Miles Turner might be available this summer.
Well, you mean Gogo Batatse?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been someone who has developed over the past couple months. I think someone who they're starting to rely more and more. And yes, as we talked about on yesterday's show with Raphael Barlow, and if you didn't check that out, please do so. It was a great conversation with Raphael. We talked about Miles Turner possibly being a trade target out there for Portland, the Lakers, and anybody else that's out there. So, yeah, exactly. Anybody who needs a good shooting big man that can block some shots. So he is going to come at a high premium. Go ahead, Raphael.
Everybody.
Yeah.
To me, it just makes the most sense in New Orleans.
They got to do something with Steven Adams in the contract that David Griffin signed to him. That's a hard one to get rid of.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's regretting that now. Yeah, exactly. But also here today is a good man indeed. You got to check him out on NBADraftJunkies.com, NBA Draft Junkies on YouTube, and the NBA for as far as the draft is concerned. No better place to go also as well as the Locked On NBA Draft podcast every Monday and Thursday. It is Raphael Barlow. Very impressive win for Indiana. Do you think they can take that momentum wherever they're traveling to, whether it's Washington or Boston, and come out with a victory? Especially without Karis LeVert.
It's going to be tough. But then again, I didn't think that they would look as good as they look today. I mean, last I saw they had like 144 points. I don't know what they finished with. Charlotte looked like they were the ones that are having issues with their coach. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, they look like they did not look like a team that's having issues with their coach. The guys on the bench looked like they were having fun. And I mean, they were scoring. And I think that was one of the reasons why they decided not to bring Nate McMillan back, is because they wanted an offense that moves the ball a little bit more, that puts up more points. And today they look like the team that they envisioned before the season started, minus, all the injuries. I think they only had like 2 of their projected starters playing. And even with Brogdon, I think he was like a game time decision. So at one point they were probably Sabonis was the only starter.
And he did a whale of a job on the boards. He ended up with just over 20 rebounds, just an incredible game by him. And, when you have – with Charlotte, it just seems like they go against the middle. There's no way they could stop anything in the paint. And, of course, when the Pacers with Holiday chucking up threes, Doug McDermott chucking up threes, Dougie Buckets, I think it was his nickname, Malcolm Brogdon having a really, really solid game as well. It's just amazing to see what was going on. And they got a lot of rest, too. I know that they kind of packed it in at the end of the third quarter, so because the game was over by then. So, yeah, there could be some chance that they could pull it out, whether they're in Washington or Boston. But also here today for today's show is a good man indeed. You got to check out his 5 Things articles at Lakerholics.com. It is Jamie Sweet. When you rest that fourth quarter, like most of the players did that started for Indiana, that's got to be a big boost if you're going to play a couple of days from now.
Yeah, the playoffs are a little more spaced out. I'm not sure it means as much as it would during, especially.
Well, they play on Thursday.
I guess that's basically how the whole compressed season has gone this season. Game day, back to back game day. Yeah, it's been pretty rough. So I think any rest for anybody at this point is probably a big thing. They're a pretty young team. There's not a lot of aged vets on Indy, so I think that momentum is bigger than rest for them. I think they're building. They can build some momentum off this. It's one game. They're playing one more game to get in, and that's great for that franchise. That's why they play the games, right? Nobody picked Indy to win. Here they are, and there's something to be. It's always nice when the underdog comes through, or when expectations are dashed on the rocks of reality. Shout out. Speaking of, players not playing for their coaches or coaches we expect to see gone. It was interesting to see that Luke Walton will remain in Sacramento today. That was kind of an interesting.
I can't believe that.
I know you can't believe it. For like the last 6 months, that's been like your siren call of bye, Luke. See you, Luke.
That's what that tells me. That is a organization that wants to save money.
Well, he survived the scandal. Like, even though, it doesn't seem like anything came out of it. I don't think a lot of coaches would have survived just the negative PR that surrounded it. And
plus, also the NBA's statistically worst defense ever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is statistically the worst defense ever, and that to me, I just blew me away that he would actually stay on after that.
Well, I think didn't at one point they just went like 7 out of their last 10 without Fox. I think that probably saved him.
Yeah,
agreed.
They had a couple streaks like that where they would lose 9 out of 10 and then win 9 out of 10. So it was a real Dr. Jekyll Hyde type of situation there. You never know what's going through the minds of the Sacramento ownership.
Saving money.
Is anything going through the minds of Sacramento?
Well, remember the owner, who I think is still the owner, wanted to go ahead with that novel concept of playing 4-on-5 on the defensive end and just have someone cherry picking on the other end. He came up with that philosophy, and that was kind of like,
not sure that's
but they do have some. Fox, Halliburton, they do have some nice things that are there. Great players that I think will develop even more. But they've got a lot of issues. The Bagley draft choice is going to haunt them forever. I really think that's going to haunt them forever.
Yeah.
What did you have, Raphael, when you were back when you were doing mock drafts, and I think I was doing mock drafts too? Did you foresee this happening with Marcus Bagley?
No. I didn't think he was very skilled. I knew that he was super athletic and he had somewhat of a motor. And, he just has some physical tools you can't teach. But, just from talking to, like, people that I know that I've played against him, they're saying that he has, like, improved his overall skill. It's just the toughness aspect of being tough and physical, and the word soft has been thrown around. And so one of the examples was someone said, yeah, if he had you on the post, he would shoot a jumper.
Fair enough.
It's not a tag you want. It's not a tag you want for your career.
No.
But before we get into the main event right now, as far as the Lakers and Golden State, let's quickly run through what's going on with San Antonio and Memphis. So it is San Antonio going into Memphis. I want to hear your thoughts, Laker Tom, first off, on San Antonio as they kind of backtracked in, because at one point they were as high as 7th, I believe, in the Western Conference, and kind of just slid through the back door, not playing very well on the way out. But Pops, this is the playoffs. We're going to say it's essentially the playoffs start today. With Pops out there, anything is possible as far as from a coaching standpoint. So he may be able to motivate these teams to beat a young team like Memphis at Memphis.
I don't think so.
I'm just trying to play at both sides as the host, my friend.
Yeah, I think Memphis is going to destroy them. And San Antonio is a funny team because they've gone from this sort of idealistic team that everybody pointed to as the ideal small market team that could win championships, as a Hall of Fame coach, et cetera, and starting with the whole Kawhi Leonard situation, and things seemed to go downhill, and they made trades that were trades to prevent people from going to certain teams rather than trying to get the best return on their money. And they've got some good young players, and then they've got a bunch of veterans who, that they've basically gotten rid of this year, and still been able to at least be among the top 10 teams. I don't think that they're going to have any chance of beating the Grizzlies. But I do think that they have a couple of young players in there that are very talented. The question is whether they're going to build around them. None of them are really, they're like maybe 2s and 3s on a good contending team. They don't have anybody who's really the number one. And that's the problem. And if you get caught in the middle like they are, where you're just barely making the playoffs, but you're not getting a high draft pick, it's not the way to rebuild.
I agree, 100%. And it's a lot of redundancy on their roster, I feel like. A lot of guys for the same position.
Even the young guys and the old guys, they're very similar. It's like they got a pattern, and they've always said, is this guy a Spur? Is he going to play Spurs basketball and so forth? And, they made some exceptions when they brought in Aldridge and so forth. But there still is a pattern there that's kind of perplexing.
Jamie?
I think Memphis. I don't know if Memphis is going to destroy San Antonio. I think they're going to handle San Antonio. I don't think San Antonio has anybody that can stop, and few teams can stop Ja Morant. And I just think Memphis is better. But it depends on it. The crazy thing about this playing game, and it's what should worry Laker fans a little bit, is that a team can catch fire and start hitting threes, and these are all professional basketball players. They all work hard. Team can get hot, and couple lucky bounces here or there, and suddenly it's a game that nobody expected to be as hard as it was, and it's going to be a good test for Memphis. So there's not a lot of playoff experience on that roster, and that's that. I don't know if that's going to swing a series. It might swing a game like this, like a play-in game.
And that's the thing you got to remember is that, even though that they may not be the same talent-wise, I still think that Pops, whether you love him or you hate him, you got to go ahead and give him credit on being able to navigate his way through 5 championships that weren't always themes there, although they had a ton of talent, though, that, obviously a whole lot of Hall of Famers that were part of it. But I'm going to say right now that I'm going to say it's a close game, but I think Memphis, like you said, because it's being played at Memphis and Ja Morant has the ball, I think if he has a good game, I don't think that San Antonio is going to be able to pull it out. So I think Ja is just an unbelievable talent. I mean, Raphael, your thoughts on this before we go ahead and head on to the game in question and the reason why most of us are here, or at least all of us are here, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping Memphis wins. I think think be more exciting to watch. I'm just kind of ready for the Spurs to move on into the next phase of their lives.
He's never going to do it.
Yeah. I don't think Pop wants to rebuild, but I mean, he might as well. He already has a team full of young guys anyway.
Right.
A lot of guys on rookie contracts. I'm just ready for them to just move on, get out the way, and let someone else have it. So I'm hoping Memphis wins. And I just feel like the Grizzlies have been overachieving the last couple of years. And now Jackson is healthy. And I think it would be exciting to see, Morant versus the Jazz and how they, will fare against that defense. And so I'm the fan of me does not want to see the Spurs.
It's so funny because V. Garcia, who is watching right now and in the chat and who's one of our best fans that's out there, and thank you so much for watching and listening. It's so funny because he is based right now and lives in San Antonio, and all I've seen from his is boo Spurs, boo Spurs, boo Spurs. And he commented, they can come sit next to me and watch LA do the work. So it's so funny that V has such a passionate, against like Lee Elrob. He's in Detroit and he does not like the Pistons. So there you go. It's so funny. But that's the way Lakers fandom works. We're all around. We're all over. So we truly appreciate it again. But the main reason why we're here, guys, obviously in our play-in preview is, of course, what's coming up for tomorrow with the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. And Laker Tom, I'm going to start with you. When it comes down to it, I mean, obviously Stephen Curry, the NBA scoring champ, the reigning scoring champ, he's going to be a primary concern. And I know we touched on this before as far as that's concerned in regards to not letting anybody else get off substantially and seeing what we can do to limit the number of points per shot. I think points per shot when it comes to Stephen Curry is the key. Can you make him shoot 20, 25, 35, 45 to get the same commensurate around the points? Like if he makes 40 points, make sure it's like on 40 shots.
Yeah, I think that the Lakers have done a good job on that. KCP's always had good numbers against Steph. And I think the main lesson that the Lakers have to take from this entire situation is what you don't want to do is allow the Warriors to hang in there, to be close. You have to go out there and you've got to crush them right from the start and make this a 20-point game so that Steph can't pull a rabbit out of the bag. There's no way. I frankly think that they should start Anthony Davis. I know they're not going to do that. They're probably going to start Drummond. I worry a little bit about Drummond playing against such a savvy defender and passer as Draymond Green, because I think for sure that the Warriors are going to go small against the Lakers, just like they did against the Grizzlies. And so I think it's important to come in really focused to understand that this is not like a 7-game series where if you blow the first game, you can recover and win the next 4. This is like if you blow a 10-point lead in the first half or allow the other team to stay close and you get into the end of the game, you can easily lose a game. Yeah. So we need to go out there really hard. We need to crash the boards. We need to dominate in the paint. We need LeBron and AD to really school the guys who are going to guard them. And we should be able to walk away with a wire-to-wire win. It's a great test both on the Lakers' ability to focus this early in the playoffs, or I guess it's not even the playoffs. It's considered to be postseason, but not playoffs. And then I also think it's a key position for Frank Vogel. We're going to, in addition to seeing, two guys that have gone against each other 38 times in the past, including 22 times in the playoffs, we're going to get a chance to see Frank Vogel and get a hint as to how he's going to handle the center position, because he's going to get probably the best small ball team that's out there starting right up the get-go. And we'll have to see, can Andre Drummond really play defense and make the rotations, be in the right spots at the right times? That's a big question. That Steph is going to hunt him on pick and rolls over and over mercilessly. And he's going to love just being able to get him all alone out there guarding him one-on-one. The Lakers are going to double and trap and try to put the ball in anybody else's hands and hope to be aggressive in that sense. So it's a microcosm of what we're going to expect to see in the playoffs. How will LeBron and AD come out of the blocks? How will the Lakers defense look? And how will Frank Vogel act as the coach of the Lakers? Will he make the same dynamic moves that he made last year and really give AD the minutes at center he needs to dominate? This will be the first test.
Well, with Draymond Green, and I know V. Garcia has that going on in the chat, with Draymond Green, obviously he's a great defensive player in certain situations. I think he's an awesome team defensive player. And, his hands, the way he can go ahead and steal, obviously the way he can rip the ball from you as you're going up. But he was on after the game against Memphis boasting about his defense and how they put bigger guys constantly throughout his career. And then I see Valanciunas put up 29 against him. So I'm not exactly – it's hard to gauge the kind of defensive measure as far as one-on-one, how good Draymond is. I think he's an extremely good team defender. In fact, one of the best out there in the NBA. I think a key, if the Lakers can get him in any kind of foul trouble, if AD is playing against him, if he's backing him up, and, if Drummond's out of there after a short period of time and the Lakers go small, I think that's the key. But, Jamie, your thoughts on Draymond Green, because not only does he do so many things offensively with his passing, with obviously the way he can control the entire offense and set everything up for Stephen Curry, he can also he coordinates the defense in such a way. He's a general back there. I think if you can go ahead and cause problems for him to get him distracted from his overall great team defense, I think that's a way that the Lakers can go ahead and knock things out early.
I think the biggest key to stopping Draymond Green is making him the primary scorer on the Golden State Warriors. Every season, he had a couple of great seasons from three. His three-point shooting has kind of gone down the last few years. I think you kind of play him the way you would play Alex Caruso. Feel free to shoot the ball, buddy, and you live with that. You have to live. The playoffs are all about what do you want to live with after the game. Do you want to live with, well, we really covered Draymond Green great, but Steph Curry went off for 62 points. What do you want to say? Oh, well, Draymond hit all the shots tonight and scored 30, and they beat us. I would rather live with Draymond. I think the foul trouble issue is one that plagues the Lakers centers more than it plagues Draymond Green. Both Gasol and Drummond pick up fouls at a pretty high rate over the course of a normal game.
But this might work out better for the Lakers because if they go, that might necessitate going to AD at the 5 a lot sooner.
It could, but it also puts a lot of pressure on your defense for the rest of the game to play defense without fouling and not putting Steph to the line, not putting guys who can make free throw shots on Golden State to the line. So that's a different kind of challenge. I think that the best way to get Draymond Green is to get him, angry, playing out of control, and then he does something kind of, loopy and hurts his team, picks up some tees, gets all fired up. In some ways, that's the best way to go after Draymond. But barring, trying to play mind games in a one-game play-in series, I would try to make Draymond, outscore you, whoever he's guarding on defense, and don't let him get 12 assists. Don't let him get, he's going to get his rebounds. He's a great rebounder. He plays with a lot of force and power, and you got to respect that. But make him score the ball. Make him score the ball, and I think that we'll be all right.
B. Garcia says, put Jared Dudley on Draymond, and it's all over. Lockdown defense. Tell them Laker Tom.
Well, did you notice that the last game, the best ranking defensive player on the Lakers lineup happened to be Jared Dudley.
Oh, dear God. Help
I
me.
just thought I'd throw that in there for you, Gerald. I know you never look at those stats, but
yeah, okay. Fair enough. Jared Dudley. Yeah, there you go. But Raphael, I wanted to ask you this. I mean, to me, making life hard and miserable for Stephen Curry, obviously, at best you can, and to try and limit the number of points. I mean, because he's obviously going to get his 25, 30, 35, possibly even more. Trying to make him work for each and every one of those points is probably going to be a key for the Lakers. But to me, it's also about Draymond Green and how much he can control the pace and what's going on both sides of the ball. What are your thoughts on alternatives other than just focusing everything on Stephen Curry? Because I think that's what other teams, when they lose to the Golden State Warriors, they focus way too much attention on Stephen Curry, and other things happen.
Which, naturally you would think that's the game plan. Focus a lot on him. And even like with Draymond, like make Draymond beat you. But he's so smart that he knows, like, all right, he'll have the ball. He knows that there's a wide open lane. And him and Steph have this little 2-man game where, he'll get the ball. They'll have someone set a screen, and then Steph gets open, whether it's like a dribble handoff. I mean, they play so well together. And then once you spend too much time focusing on Steph, then someone cuts and Draymond finds a cutter. And I mean, teams have been trying to defend them this way all year by making Draymond beat them. And Steph still averaged 32 a game and shot like 48% from the floor. So I think the Lakers are just going to have to out-talent them. But the key, in my opinion, for not only this playoff game or play-in game in the playoffs is, what is the rotation going to be? That was my question last year.
Yeah.
And I thought Vogel did a good job of not letting the Eagles get in the way with JaVale starting most of the season, to him getting DNP CDs and Dwight end up not really playing in some games. I think this year it's even tougher because you have, you got Gasol, you got Drummond, you got Trez, you got Kuz, Morris, Bron. Like, all of those guys are really playing the front court, and someone's going to get left out. And I don't know if Drummond and Harrell will have the same maturity if one of them gets left out of the rotation, because both of them, if I'm not mistaken, are looking for bigger contracts.
Yeah. And Gasol is not going to be the greatest fit on a matchup like this one against Golden State. So that's also got to be a concern. So you might not see much of him tomorrow night in the game. But I know V. Garcia is getting on Jamie's case about Caruso. I mean, with Caruso, V. Garcia, I'm just going to say this, that yes, he did shoot 41% from the three-point area, but I know a lot of his reputation has already preceded him. So teams are willing to go ahead and let him be that scorer or have that scorer mentality, because he doesn't usually have that scorer mentality. He's usually a reluctant shooter, reluctant scorer. He likes to go ahead and play off others, which is one of the keys to his success and why he, has garnered the kind of notoriety that he has. But Jamie, when it comes down to what they need to match up with, I mean, you got to throw different looks at Steph and to at least make his life uncomfortable. I think that's something that you have to go ahead and do. You can't. Yes, you're probably going to give up 40 or more to Steph in a game like this, but you got to make his life hard. You got to make his life difficult, and you got to go ahead and make sure it's on the most amount of shots as possible.
I agree. I mean, the Lakers have a lot of different defenders they can look at. And V. Garcia, I'm a huge Alex Caruso fan. I'm probably the number one defender of Alex Caruso on the blog. I love Alex Caruso, but every player has their weaknesses, and one of Alex's is that he is not, by nature, a scoring guard. He is by nature a defense-first oriented guy, and then he likes to, like Gerald said, play off the ball and be a more of a team offensive player as opposed to a me offensive player. And I don't think that shouldn't be news to anybody. That's who Alex Caruso is. I think I can't remember when I said this, but I think I'm on record as saying we're going to kitchen sink defense, Steph, and we're gonna throw whatever we can at him. There's a few things that the Lakers like to go to that I don't think are going to work at all against Golden State. Frank likes to mix in zones every once in a while, and I would not do that because that's just going to unlock the 3-point shooting of the Golden State Warriors. So that's one of the tools that Frank likes to use in the playoffs that I'm not sure we'll see in this one game. And I think, you can't really pressure them full court because they have so many different guys that can handle the ball. And, Raphael brought up a good point. The Draymond Steph connection it's as close to NBA gold as you get. Like there's few players in the league who have been through the battles those two players have been through. There's three, really. Just one of them isn't playing for Golden State this year because he's hurt, which would have changed everything about the Western Conference this year if he hadn't been hurt. But it's going to be interesting to see. Usually this would have been such a great 7-game series, and it's kind of a bummer. I feel like for them, everybody's like, "Oh, what a great way to start the play-ins." I'm like, not really. This would have been much better, like a couple of games down the line. it would have been a lot more exciting, I feel like, because then you would have seen like how does Kerr adjust to what Vogel's doing, to what Kerr did, to what Vogel did, and how do the players interact.
It'd be interesting if the Lakers and Golden State, they match up tomorrow, and then somehow they manage to meet at the Western Conference Finals. Wouldn't that be ironic?
I mean, the only way is if Golden State beats us and then we beat.
Well, no, if we beat Golden State, and Golden State's the 8th seed, they somehow manage to beat Utah, and then they get to the second round, but we would not meet them until the Western Conference Finals.
That would be astounding. That would be, I don't know, there's no other way that you could meet the same team twice in the playoffs.
Yeah, that would be a first.
Yeah.
This weird play-in formula, which would be, that in and of itself would be kind of stupendous. Like, what?
I didn't even think of that as
Right.
a
Isn't that
possibility
crazy?
at all. Yeah.
It's
But I
crazy.
feel like every matchup the Lakers have this playoffs could be something that you would want to see later on. I mean,
Totally.
you know, the up and coming Phoenix or Dallas or whoever they play. I think no matter
Except
what,
San
it's gonna be
Antonio.
exciting. Yeah.
Nobody wants to see San Antonio.
Yeah, nobody.
Especially V. Garcia.
Nope.
And he's in San Antonio. So,
Right. Heck,
but
I'll bet
I
want to see
I
San
agree with
Antonio
you
some
guys.
night.
Yeah. Laker Tom, although I want to ask you this, when it comes to the rest of the Golden State Warriors, because we're completely ignoring them and just laying the focus on those two, Draymond and Stephen. And I understand that it would be better if they had a more well-rounded team, but the reason why they're in the standings where they are is because of the fact they don't have that depth that a lot of the other Western Conference powerhouses do. So I want to hear your thoughts on Jordan Poole, JTA. Is there anybody else out there that you think, Wiggins? Is there anyone out there that you think might impact this game more so than just being just a complimentary player?
Well, I think Wiggins has shown recently that he can be an impact player, and Poole has impressed me also. They're both guys who can get their own shot. They can get hot at three. The big problem that the Warriors really have is that other than Looney, they don't have anybody big. And with Wiseman out, they started to go small and they started to play better. For the last half of the season, they're a top 5 defensive team. So they're really finding that they've always been a better small ball team than a big ball team. And they've always gotten these centers that it's almost like, it reminds me of the Lakers of always trying to go big instead of really focusing in on what is their strength, which is really small, with our version of small ball, which has Anthony Davis and LeBron James at the 4 and 5, which is a pretty dynamic small ball team. So whether we end up beating them with big ball or small ball, it's going to turn on the simple fact that whichever way we go, we have a bigger, rougher, taller, tougher group of guys in the front court than they're going to have. And we should dominate the boards. We should dominate the points in the paint. And that basically should end the game, And if we don't take advantage of that early and build up a lead so that we can neutralize any comeback capability that the Warriors have, it should be an easy game for the Lakers.
Yeah.
And Golden State, you could obviously see that. Imagine that team next year with Clay back, and if they made a trade for Miles Turner, all of a sudden you have a formula there that could be really deadly. A combination of Miles Turner and Draymond Green at the 4-5 would be a sort of a combination of that I've tried to get for 2 or 3 years now, of Miles Turner and Anthony Davis at the 4-5 for the Lakers. You basically put a lid on the basket at that point in time.
Well, let me ask you this, Raphael. If what Tom says is true, and I think that's true, and that's something that we've talked about throughout the season. That's something Laker Tom was screaming about. That's something we were talking about way back in the last playoff run. Was it the team is best when AD is at the 5, LeBron's at the 4. You've got 2 defensive-minded guards that can also score and hit the 3. That KCP seems to turn up a notch in the playoffs. You saw how he did in the finals in those crucial moments. He was really stepping it up. And then you have Dennis Schroeder, who is not afraid of anything, and he's very aggressive and should make life miserable for any opposing guard that he plays in front of. So I want to hear your thoughts on who plays that other spot. Last year was Markieff Morris, but this year, I don't want to say he struggled at times, but he's also been put out of the lineup, and he's been kept out of the lineup for extensive periods of times. If it's not him, who else would you lean on coming off as far as that fifth slot as far as the Lakers' small lineup is concerned?
That's a tough question.
Would you go to Kuz?
Yeah, I mean, that would be the first person I would go with. I just don't like. On one hand, I get why they signed Drummond. I mean, you're not really paying him anything, but it just created a logjam. I think it made Frank's job a lot more difficult than it should have been. What's interesting is, and I guess I can say it now, but I was in LA pretty much every other week throughout the beginning of this year with Dwayne Dedmon, and I thought he would have been the perfect fit for the Lakers. And
look at Lakers. Tom's eyes just rolled when you said that, because he said that same thing.
Yeah, he was there. He wasn't healthy at the time, and then they ended up signing Drummond before he went to Miami. And it's interesting because all we did was work on shooting. I mean, that's what he got paid for as a floor spacer. But Miami isn't allowing him to shoot; they only want him to roll. But I thought he would have been a perfect fit because he would have given the Lakers a rebounder, energy guy that can also knock down open shots. And LeBron hasn't had a stretch five. He hasn't had a floor spacer since he's been there, which just
Marcus Gasol's the closest
Byron
thing.
Scott.
What's that?
Marcus Gasol's the closest thing to it.
Yeah, but I mean Gasol. I mean, I don't. Anyway, so I just feel like I don't know who's going to be the fifth starter. AD needs to play the five. Like, I don't even understand why he didn't start the season at the five. And maybe if they said they wanted to save him from punishment because it was such a short season. But, I mean, you just won a championship with him playing the majority of the minutes at the five. Why not run it back? So, I guess I would go Kuz.
The other guy might be Wes Matthews. Because Matthews can guard a wing and set something that KCP and Dennis can't. And Wes has been shooting a three very good lately. So he might be my pick for that.
So you go Dennis, Wes, KCP,
LeBron and
AD. Yeah, I mean, to me, that makes a lot of sense. But then, I don't know. I guess
especially against the Warriors because they can't force one of those guards off of the bench. They can't put him on the bench. They can't play him out of the game.
Who's that? The Warriors can't play.
Well, if you have Watt, Matthews, KCP, and Schroeder,
yeah,
those are three guys that the Warriors cannot. They don't have the size to go out and create a mismatch to force you to adjust to that.
Yeah,
I agree as well. I think the pace and space deal, but they hit those guys. Dennis Schroeder, not necessarily because he's not a great three-point shooter, but he can drive. He creates problems for the defense because he can drive and dish, and he can occasionally hit the three-pointer. I wish he was shooting as well as he was in Oklahoma City. I mean, that would be a much better scenario right now for us, but he's not. But he still is a very aggressive offensive player, and he's very tenacious defensively. And I think that he will make life hard for Curry, him or KCP. I think they're going to trade off on Curry and take turns on that. And then, like you said, Wes Matthews could go ahead and play. How much you're going to get from Wes Matthews? I would not give him extended minutes because of his age. He is 35, 36 in that range himself, but he can give you 20 to 25 good minutes, I think, effectively, plus hit that shot. So you can toggle it up if you're going to get Drummond out of the game quickly and go to a Kuz, go to a Matthews, and go to even a Markieff Morris if he can find something as far as his shot is concerned. If he can even shoot a little bit, that makes things so much better and so much more open space for the Lakers right there. So I'm thinking that, like you guys, I mean, if the Lakers play just to their talent tomorrow, it should not be an issue, and the Lakers should pull out on top. But, at Stephen Curry, I think is going to keep the game close enough because just for the fact that the whole team will be on his shoulders.
Something you said was kind of funny about Schroeder being a tenacious defender. And I was talking to a friend of mine that played with him, and he said that Dennis stopped picking up full court once he got his contract. on his rookie deal, he used to pick up full court. And the comment he made is Dennis wants 100. He wants 100 million this year. So he may start picking up full court again in the playoffs. Just
I wouldn't be
because
surprised.
He wants to get paid.
But he's looking for a paycheck, that's for sure, and he's got better be playing like it. B. Garcia asks if we can play, or do we think we should play THT, and do you think he can get Curry in foul trouble with his ability to drive? I don't, when THT, he's got to learn to finish a little bit better. I think for someone who is so spectacular driving to the basket, I think the problem with his finishing, when he's not able to finish these baskets a lot of times, is still concerning me. But I also think the fact that he's 20, if he goes against Curry, he's going to be eaten alive. And I see 2 fouls in 2 minutes and getting him out of the game real quickly. I would not want to put him in on Curry right now unless you have to. Jamie, what are your thoughts?
I agree completely. I think THT would get eaten alive by a veteran like Steph Curry. I think THT is a little bit better. He's not a great perimeter on the 3-point line defender. He's a little bit better under the screens, down in the paint, where he doesn't have a lot of lift. So, the kid just needs more experience. This is not the series for THT to shine. He'll get some. I have no doubt he'll get some burn. I'll bet he'll be playing the 10 to 15 minute range. Mainly with the second unit. Hopefully with somebody else who can also bring the ball up, because you don't want Golden State to. I don't know that THT has really seen a trap this season. I can't think of a time when I've seen him get trapped in the backcourt and be forced to get creative and getting the ball across the line. Every possession is going to matter in this plan. So I don't see us as having a lot of possessions to burn on that kind of experiment, which I think overall has gone fairly positively. I think, we got a lot out of THT this season. We saw the issues that THT has to work on over the summer. And I expect in the right series, he'll have a featured role.
Yeah.
I don't see that in this series. I guess you could say maybe put him on Wiggins, somebody who's physically a little bigger than him, but his arms, his arm length and wingspan can maybe make up a little bit for that. But I would go with Matthews over THT in those minutes. If you're looking for defense and if you're looking for scoring, I would go with McLemore over THT because,
McLemore.
Well, it depends what kind of scoring you're looking for. If you're looking for outside shooting, but if you don't have a rim protector, which they don't have, and all of a sudden you can't score, and Schroeder has foul problems or something like that, THT is a guy you can bring in when you don't have a rim protector who can get to the rim and put in 8-10 points real quickly.
It could happen. I think Golden State's too good. I think that
he's not going to guard Steph, though. You're right there.
No, there's no way. That's
because if he does, he's going to get hunted. He's going to get hunted.
Exactly.
Curry will get hunted. Curry will hunt him out, and the problem is, though, he's going to get to the line because THT will get the calls. Will get the calls against him, and I think that's a bread and butter for Curry is getting to those 9 and 10 free throws on really big games for him.
Fouls are going to be an issue in this game tomorrow. If we pick up, if Drummond and Gasol are fouling 2-3 fouls,
they're going to hunt Drummond. You know that on a pick and roll.
He's going to get. They're going to get. We're going to put.
Steph and Dre are going to hunt him every time.
They're going to be in the bonus a lot, and so it's going to be. That's going to be the key to winning tomorrow is playing defense without fouling. And if we do that well, I don't think Golden State can beat us. But if they're going to the line 10 more times than we are, plus Steph, that's a lot for this Laker team to overcome. So it's going to be interesting. I think
a benefit for us if Drummond gets fouled out early.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
How many guys play tomorrow?
I'm going to say a little bit more
10.
than they do in the playoffs. I'm going to say 9, maybe 10. Yeah, I'm going to say 10. In that range because
I could see as high as 11 though.
I think Frank Vogel's still going to try and figure out and use this game to test it out. If the Lakers are at least winning or in a position to go ahead and feel comfortable, he's going to start testing the lineups a little bit more and give guys maybe a little bit of burn, even for a 5 to 10 minute span. I'd say 10. I'd say 10's a good number, Jamie Sweet. I agree with you.
I think you have to treat this as if it's Game 7.
Agreed.
Yep.
But he won't. I don't think he will.
I'm not saying I disagree with you, Raphael, but I'm saying that I think that's the way it will go. Whether or not you and I both agree that I would treat as a game 7. I want to get this done and over with as fast as possible. I want to get them into the situation where it was like today at Indiana, where you're leading by 30 at halftime and going into third quarter. That's what I want. I want to get this done ASAP. Don't give Curry a chance to get anywhere near as far as in a position.
Yeah, I agree
This game.
because
Make things more harder on yourself.
yeah, you don't want to get in a situation where you have another game coming up and it's fighting for your season, and you get a lucky Memphis team that goes unconscious from 3, which I've seen them do. Especially with Jaren Jackson back, he just opens the floor up for Morant, and then once he's in the paint, he just creates so many open looks. So if I'm Vogel, I'm treating this like game 6 or 7. I'm pretty much running the same lineup I ran in Miami when it looks like Miami was picking up a little momentum. I'm not risking.
They should be doing right from the start of the game in order to get that early lead.
Yeah, I'm not risking. Guys' feelings of trying to figure out my playoff rotation. Like it's
if we so
it's not the
now
regular
that prompts another question for me then. So if we do go small and it is AD at the 5, Bron at the 4, does that mean Caruso starts?
No, I think
who then?
I would start Matthews or
I think Matthews might start if that was the situation, because I think he's the best fit, because you're really not going small if you put Morris in there, for example. And I do think Morris is going to be important before these playoffs are done. I don't think he's a forgotten man in any sense of the word.
Yeah, I think he plays more than Trez in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely, because he's a guy who can play a little bit of stretch 5, and he can definitely defend 4s. And you notice one of the things that I really liked about the evolution of his game this year is rather than just taking only 3s, he's been taking smaller guys down into the post and making very easy, good, quick turnaround jumpers, 10 to 15 feet, and he's been dynamite on those shots. And that's part of the problem that Frank has had. You can look at it as good news and bad news. The good news is that every time he tries to put somebody out of the rotation, they come back and play really well and work their way back into the rotation. So I think that's like Raphael said, it's really not a game 7 because it's not win or go home. It's more like a game 6 because we get one more shot at it if we fail. But I think there's got to be a short leash on everybody, and that, to me, that says if you win big, you're going to play a lot of people because you're going to have a lot of garbage time. And if it's close, there's going to be a short leash on people. So if you don't play really well at the beginning, boom, you're out, and somebody else is going to get a chance to show what they can do. So I think we're going to play a lot of people like we normally do in every game.
You know who I would play? I just come out guns blazing. I'd go Schroeder, KCP, McLemore, Bron, AD. We're looking to score.
Well, you can afford it with those 4 guys on defense. That's not a bad move, Raphael, because you can afford to cover up for it.
Yeah,
but they'll hunt him because Jared Dudley.
Hey, he had the best defensive rating in the one game he played this year at the end of the season.
I mean, yeah, maybe Dudley for some hard fouls. Maybe use him to try to break Draymond into something. Like
take a charge. Have him take a charge.
Like series was he playing? He's playing for Brooklyn, and he came in and sparked it by causing like a little dust up against the Sixers or something like that a few years ago. Yes. Yeah, Dudley would have hired. Your job is a hard foul, frustrate Draymond, get him a tech. Draymond might be close to like that suspension or whatever. So.
Doesn't that reset though? That reset, right? For the
does it?
Yeah, I think it resets.
Well, this is not the playoffs.
For Luka and Dwight Howard, then.
Right, this is not the playoffs.
I think they would consider this I think it resets for this. I would say it resets for
this play-in's so weird, right? There's like so many things. Like, is this?
Yeah, don't call it the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think playoffs. So, but everybody gets a fresh. Everybody gets to yell at the refs at least 6 times. I think so.
Okay.
Well, guys, it's been incredible talking to you guys about the playoff or play-in preview that we did, not only for the Lakers and Golden State tomorrow, but also as well San Antonio and Memphis. Looking forward to both of those games. Once again, Indiana destroyed Charlotte and sent them packing 144 to 117. Right now in the second quarter, Washington has a 4-point lead over Boston, so it looks like it's going to be a pretty close game going into the halftime. As Raphael and I predicted, we were actually, I think we both went Charlotte, Washington. Is that correct?
Yeah, I definitely had Charlotte.
Yeah, we thought there was more issues on Indiana than there actually apparently was, so we called that wrong. But
Indiana has size, which is what Charlotte totally lacks. That's
yeah,
the big differentiator.
That's true. That's something that showed up today. But definitely looking forward to tomorrow's games. But before we head on out, guys, I know you're working on some great things at LakerHolics.com and NBA Draft Junkies, and also the Locked On NBA Draft Podcast. So before we head on out, I will first turn it over to my good friend, Mr. Raphael. We will not be covering the playoffs on a daily basis this year. I think that your time frame and also my time frame and my sanity will not allow me to do so this year because that was just tough doing it every single day. But my friend,
I'm a Blazers fan. I'm not a Lakers fan, and what worked last year helped the Lakers win a championship. So if you want to break tradition, that's fine with me.
Okay. Fair enough. Blazers and Lakers in the Western Conference Final. Let's go for that. That would be awesome. Now, if they both get to the Western Conference Finals, we'll cover that. Obviously, we'll be there for every game anyways, but we'll see how much playoff coverage we do. I definitely want to cover the Lakers games in full, and if you want to go ahead and do extra games with me, just tell me, let me know, and we'll go ahead and do them. But I know your schedule's tight with all the stuff that you do for NBA Draft Junkies and Locked On NBA Draft Podcasts. I want to go ahead and turn over to you first. You've got all the stuff that's going on with NBA Draft Junkies on YouTube, the 14,000 plus subscribers there, NBADraftJunkies.com, and of course, the Locked On NBA Draft Podcast. You had a great episode that dropped yesterday, but what do you have going on as far as everything in your world that people need to know about?
Sorry, I'm smiling because I just saw Westbrook dunk on his teammate, and it looks like he injured him.
Never doubt Wes.
That would not be surprising.
Just the same old, Locked On. It's a couple days a week, and then it's full swing with the draft coming up. Unlike last year, the draft was like significantly later than the actual NBA finals or the playoffs, but this year it's kind of back on its normal schedule. So yeah, that's what keep me pretty busy. Then I'm trying to attend like different workouts in Dallas and get some exclusive content. And but yeah, other than that, just Locked On NBA Draft, and I'm on Mondays and Thursdays, and then NBADraftJunkies.com and also NBA Draft Junkies YouTube channel.
That's
Who's
awesome.
going to win the playoff? Who's going to win the series with the Nuggets and the Blazers?
Blazers, they have to. If they don't, then Stotts is done.
Well, we'll save that for Friday. Because we're going to go into detail on the entire playoff scene. So I'm inviting you back, Raphael, Wednesday, if you can make after the game, or if you want to make it on Friday's show, that's up to you. You're more than welcome to, because I want to do a detailed playoff preview on Friday, and we'll go and break down all the different series, because we'll have a listing after the game on Friday to make sure everybody's up front on that. So that's up to you. If you want to, you're more than welcome back. But Jamie Sweet, I know you're working on some great stuff for your 5 things at Lakerholics.com.
Yeah, working on that. Carving out time to actually watch the game tomorrow. It's going to be rough.
You don't need to do that.
Who needs to
be writing? Just be writing for Lakerholics.
Let's check the
Laker
box
Tom
score and
just
be like,
wants to
I
be
know
writing
that.
for Lakerholics.com. You don't need to watch anything.
I just want to also say, never doubt Russell Westbrook. Everybody doubts Russell Westbrook. I don't know why they doubt Russell Westbrook. Never doubt Russell Westbrook.
We doubted him during that series
player.
against the Lakers.
He's a guy who had a max contract. It turned into dust, and then he reignited the max contract.
Whatever. I'm sticking by what I just said. I don't doubt the ability, the heart, or the tenacity of Russell.
Oh, no, nobody doubts the heart and tenacity of him. But remember, in the playoffs last year, we were doubting his jump shot.
But he had the quad injury and COVID, I think.
Yeah, he was like half the player. He was injured.
And you can see the effects of that now.
Yes,
but he had the moment of the playoffs when he had, was it game 1, and he cussed out the empty crowd. Did you ever see that video where they?
Wasn't it it was a relative of Rondo, wasn't it?
It was before that. It was game 1. They won.
Oh, okay.
And someone made a cut up of him, like, going off and cussing. And then when they panned over to the crowd, it was like the the Raptors family, and it was like a bunch of like the wives holding the babies, and they were
like, what?
And I was he talking to me?
yeah. But it wasn't
know
the
there's a
actual game, but it was like they, someone just kind of cut it up of saying he's crazy, and they just had like, the moms and the babies having bottles and him just going off and yelling. But even then, it was like the empty crowd, and after game one.
But I know there was the one where he went off on Rajon Rondo's brother.
Yeah, but that was when I think they were done. Like they were already down.
Yeah, that was I think that was the last game.
Game. Yeah,
Let's be honest.
What
has Rajon Rondo's brother ever done?
Well, wasn't he responsible for cutting hair in the bubble?
Whatever. Exactly.
Maybe he didn't like his haircut.
Great job. Sure does a great job. I mean, I could use a haircut actually.
Are the Lakers and the Clippers in the same bracket?
No. They would meet in the Western
Clippers
Conference
made
Finals.
a big effort to get out of that bracket.
Yes, everybody tried to lose that, so they didn't have to face the Lakers, and the Clippers did the best job of losing.
It could end up Clippers Blazers.
Right, and I mean, there's so many different storylines. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I'm a Blazers fan, obviously, but Clippers Lakers would be the ideal matchup. I'm sure they would want. The whole Rondo, Cousins, and Trez situation I saw a few games ago.
It's true.
But yeah, sorry, but that's a whole nother story.
No, that's going to be fun. We're going to be interested. Although I would love to have playoff Rondo, who I'm finally on board with, playoff, because he's playing a lot better now that he left Atlanta. It's funny. You go get the paycheck in Atlanta, and then you go ahead and get traded to the Clippers. And now you start playing like playoff Rondo. Wonder that reminds me of his years in LA when he finally decided to go ahead and turn on the playoffs. Laker Tom and I would go at each other as far as Rondo's concerned until I finally got on the Rondo playoff train. But at that Cousins, I think would have been a better. I still think Cousins would have been a better for our team overall. I think Laker Tom agrees with me on that. But Jamie Sweet with his 5 things on Lakerholics.com. Rafael Barlow with his Locked On NBA Draft podcast and NBADraftJunkies.com and NBA Draft Junkies on YouTube. But there's also Laker Tom with his great Medium.com stories and also his articles at Lakerholics.com.
You passing the ball to me?
Yes, I am. Okay. For the layup.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the game tomorrow because it's really I know that they're selling it as an appetizer to the playoffs, that you can come and watch this great game and so forth, but it's really almost a preview of the playoffs from the Lakers standpoint, because how Andre Drummond plays in this game will have a big bearing on how he plays the rest of the playoffs and the decisions that Frank Vogel makes and how he approaches teams going small on him. And Anthony Davis's, somewhat reluctance to play the 5. Those are both going to be situations that are going to be addressed directly by this game. So that's basically what I'm looking forward to seeing happen. I'm hoping we see AD play a lot at the 5. I'm hoping we see Drummond actually come through and continue to be a guy who can put up 15 and 15 for us in any given game. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see, Dre show his value that he can be, and I give him a lot of credit because he has not tried to play the way he did with the Pistons and the way he did with the Cavaliers. He's bought into how the Lakers want him to play. He gets his few little passes here and there, an occasional post-up play. But generally, when he gets a rebound, he's not looking to take a bad shot. He's looking to find an open cutter, an open shooter, and get the ball to them. And he's done a pretty doggone good job of it. I'm really rooting for Dre. I know it appears that at times that I really don't appreciate what he can bring to the table. I'm just a big fan of having a modern NBA center who can block shots and shoot from outside. But if he comes through in this game and is able to deal with Steph and Dre hunting him out on pick and rolls every single time down the court, and he can actually play well, that'll be a big plus for the Lakers.
That will be a big plus for the Lakers. And for everyone out there that wants to go ahead and check out what Laker Tom is doing, Lakerholics.com. Well, Well, guys, it's been great talking to each and every one of you as we preview the play-in games for tomorrow. Once again, Indiana is looking to face off against the winner against Washington, Boston, and it's a 2-point game at the half. So we'll see what happens there. We will update you on that going on tomorrow's show. Plus, of course, we'll have wrap-ups of San Antonio and Memphis, and of course, the highlighted game, the game that is getting Adam Silver. Oh, he's just getting all riled up, all happy there in New York because he's so happy that Steph Curry plays against LeBron James in his mastermind creation, the play-in games. And that's the first one that kicks off. So you know he's got to be thrilled that this is happening. And after that game, we'll go ahead and be here for you talking about that and so much more as we cover the NBA playoffs as only we can right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Thanks so much, V, for watching, and everybody have a great evening. Thanks so much for the thumbs up as well, Mayo and V. All the best.